Content is intended to provide accurate information, however, is not intended as financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult a financial, legal, or tax professional for specific information regarding your individual situation. Opinions expressed and provided are for general informational purposes only and should not be considered a solicitation for the purchase or sale of any security.
Cornerstone Retirement Partners presents Your Course to Retirement with Grand Rapids Certified Financial Planner Ron Corser and Nolan Gosley. Cornerstone Retirement Partners are planning today for the potential of tomorrow.
And welcome into the program. This is your Course to Retirement with Grand Rapids, resource for a common sense approach to planning, helping us to uncomplicate the financial and economic world and plan for a more secure and confident financial and retirement future. He is CFP certified financial planner, Ron Corser from Cornerstone Retirement Partners. Ron, welcome back into the program.
Good morning, Peter, and good morning to everybody listening to today's program, either on your way to church or just kind of hanging out in your shorts in the living room, drinking a nice cup of coffee and enjoying the day. We're going to have a great program today. But why do I say that? I always think we have great programs. I'm biased. I know I am.
I think we usually do.
But we're going to have a different kind of thing. Instead of talking so much about strategy and income planning and those kinds of things, Roth conversions that we spend a lot of time on, we're going to talk about a really simple idea. And that idea is, how do you find a financial advisor that you can work with? Whether you're working with one now or you haven't worked with one before and you're looking, how do you find it? How do you go about that? So we've got some questions that I think you'll find of interest. I'm going to steal it. I'll give all the credit to Dave Ramsey because these are the questions he asks. And I think they're great questions. And I enjoy it when clients ask me some or all of these. And a lot of times when they don't ask them, I give them the answers anyhow. And I think it's important, because I don't put the relationship our clients have with me in the same relationship that they have with their spouse, their children, or the Most High God. I mean, those are really special. But frankly, what we do in our relationships with our clients is very important too. There has to be a sense of competence, a sense of being comfortable with us as an advisor or any advisor. And also to make sure that whatever you're trying to accomplish, you're doing it going forward. So we're going to ask, this title of the program is Questions to Ask Your Financial Advisor. One of the things you keep in mind is some people like to do it on their own. I can respect that. Some people want help. I can respect that too. And some people want a little bit of each. I can respect that. But an interesting thing out of the national study of millionaires, it came out that said 7 out of 10 millionaires, or about 2/3, work with an investment professional or financial advisor to achieve their net worth. Now, I'm not saying just because rich people do things, you ought to do it. But that tells you something, that you need information, you need a sense of being comfortable, you need a sense of direction. Sometimes having a financial advisor come by your side, not somebody who's going to dictate you and tell you must do this or that, but to come alongside of you and help you create a retirement plan that includes more than just your money. That's an important part of what a good financial advisor will do. Is so important to your success going forward. So that's what we're going to talk about. Stay tuned. You can take some notes if you like when I ask the questions, and we'll go forward.
Well, if you have any questions that you would like to specifically ask Ron Corser or the team from Cornerstone Retirement Partners, or if you would like to get that course to retirement plan put together for your own situation, they always welcome phone calls, they always welcome questions, and they make the opportunity available to you just for being a listener or viewer to this program to help you construct your course to retirement plan that identifies and addresses many of the greatest financial risks that we will face. All you need to do is pick up the phone and give a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. And Ron, if we're going to talk about the questions to ask your financial advisor, I suppose the first one that we need to ask ourselves rhetorically, and I think you touched on this a little bit when you mentioned that 7 out of 10 millionaires do work with an advisor, but the question in my mind would be that we'd have to ask ourselves, what is the value of working with a financial professional or financial advisor? And if we recognize that value, then we go into the specific questions that we want to ask of the potential advisors we are interviewing.
Well, the issue and question of value is a really important one. Because as we're going to talk about a little later, there's a cost for advice. So you always have to make the decision. Am I getting the bang for the buck? Am I really doing that? That's why it's really important, I think, in choosing an advisor is to say, what else are you giving me? You're just going to tell me about some funds or stocks to buy and that's going to be it? Or are you going to help me with this whole thing called financial planning? We tend to look at the whole thing called financial planning and say where we can bring value is to fill in those pieces that perhaps somebody doesn't know about, is unsure about, or needs to know about to get that sense of security going forward. Whether they're 30 years old or 65 years old, it doesn't matter. You still need that sense. So that's what we try to do. I think we do a really good job at it. I absolutely do. And I think we're worth what we're ultimately going to be compensated for. But it kind of leads into that question, doesn't it, of why is it I'm doing what I'm doing? Everybody in life has to have a job. That's pretty self-explanatory. When I was graduated from high school over on the other side of the state, in the Detroit area, way back in the day, most of the folks I graduated with, most of the guys got a job at Ford or GM, someone in the military, had a couple that kind of went to jail for a while, but I guess that's normal. But back then it was pretty cut and dry. When you got out of high school, you have to have a plan. What are you going to do with your life? And most guys decided, well, because back then going to work at GM or Ford was a pretty good deal. There was a time, and I'm from the Detroit area, where they would say, man, if a guy can get into GM, do his 30 and out, he'll have it made. And there was truth to that. And when I came up here in 1977, I was with another company in a different industry. I heard of another company out here that I didn't know much about. But that company was Steelcase. And I didn't know Steelcase from Suitcase. But what I did hear and know about him was that, boy, I tell you, if a man could get in Steelcase, do his 30 years and out, he'd have it made. So there was that opportunity going forward. How did I get in this business? It's really simple. I was in corporate America when I got out of the Army. I told the recruiter, I said, I want a job where people are going to leave me alone and not hassle me, and I can just work and I'll be okay. Anyhow, I got that kind of a job in the grocery industry, and I spent about 20 years there and went through some downsizing, outsizing, and ostracizing. And it's interesting that a downsizing, outsizing, and ostracizing still happens today. There are corporations in Grand Rapids that are going through that right now. And so when people come into our office and they start to talk about that, I understand that. I know what it's like to have a company say, you know what, we don't love you hardly like we used to, so you got to go. And here's $12, that's your separation, have a nice day. I understand that. And it's easy for me when somebody says that's what's going on in their life. We kind of line up emotionally right there. I kind of go back and experience that too. So that's one of the things that has happened to me in my life. How did I get in this business? It got to a point in life where I couldn't get back into the business I was in when I got through my last outsizing and ostracizing. And so I had an old boss. He was a good buddy of mine out in New York, and he had gotten into the financial services business, and he kept telling me, Ron, you got to get into this business. And I kept saying, I got enough to do. And ultimately, I started doing that. And I joke with people when they ask me about my background. I said, I started selling life insurance. And that's when you find out who your real friends are. Because I had friends that wouldn't even have a cup of coffee with me when they found out I was selling life insurance because they thought I was going to bang on them to buy something. I kind of became a leper in my own little corner of the world there with my friends. And eventually they kind of became back into be friendly with me. But that's how I got started. And I got some satisfaction out of it. So why do I keep doing what I'm doing now? Obviously, insurance is part of what we do as a company, investment strategies, planning, and all of that. Here's where I really get my sense of joy, I guess, or my why, or say, thank you, Lord, for giving me this opportunity. It's when clients go through bad times, when they go through tough times, they either lose a job, they have some kind of health occurrence, death, some kind of bad event. And you're able to kind of come alongside of them and help them work through that, to make sure that whatever has happened doesn't absolutely destroy what they've planned for, what they're doing now. It's that sense that, yeah, in a great market, when the markets are going up 20%, anybody's a great advisor, right? We can just tell you to buy 4 things and you're going to make money. The real issue becomes, at least for me, when the tough times happen in people's lives, when the sad things happen, and we can come alongside of them and help them through that, not only to get them through that so they're still stable and on standing on both feet, but perhaps in some events like a bad market or something to that, help them profit from it, help them get through it, help them be able to say at the end of it as they look back, wow, we got through that, thank you. That gives me a great sense of satisfaction. And it's also, I think it's even more than that, but it's like, yeah, thank you, Lord. This has been good. Because in final analysis, we're people, we're human beings. We're not somebody who has a bunch of money or not a lot of money. We're created uniquely by a creator God. And it really can be a wonderful thing when you recognize that and try to look at people that way, as opposed to how much money do you have or how much don't you have. I tell people that I've been doing this since 1994, and I have generally 4 out of 5 days are really great days to come to work. And every once in a while, I have a couple of 5th days on a week, and sometimes I wish it weren't so. But when I just sit back, I know those days are they're gonna go away, they're gonna pass, and we'll get back into those good times too, and the good days to be able to help. So that's why I do what we do. That's why Nolan, my partner, does it. That's why Nancy works so hard to help people with their health care, with their Medicare problems and opportunities. It's when you help people like they get through something that they perhaps don't understand, or it's confusing, or it's a serious situation. That's when you say, yeah, this is a good job. This is a really good job. So that's kind of why we do it. We do it. I've been through tough times personally. My whole life hasn't been a bed of roses. I joke people, I'm a bit of a product of a misspent youth, so I've had to overcome some of that. But thank you, Lord, it's been okay. So those kinds of things make it easy, I think, for me to understand that, everybody has a unique family situation. Everybody has perhaps a prodigal child like we had. Everybody has a weird Uncle Charlie, perhaps like I had. It's those things that make me perhaps more human than I even want to acknowledge sometimes. And it's those things that I think help me and help Nolan and my wife, Nancy, be better advisors and be better people to bring help to people than if everything was just golden and it was always easy in our lives. So we're tempered by good times and bad times. And I think that makes a little bit of difference in how we look at people and look to try to help them.
Well, Ron, I think that all that you just covered is one of the most important parts in finding an advisor. Once we decide that we are in need of one, that we would be presented value by having that guidance, by having that perspective that a experienced, qualified advisor such as yourself and your team there at Cornerstone Retirement Partners, the help and assistance of a certified financial planner can offer us. And we need to then know a little bit about the specific advisor that we are talking to, their beliefs and their background. That's going to give us a lot of insight on the type of advice that we are receiving and where it's coming from. So I think that all of that is important. You mentioned during the course of that, you've got 4 days that you love and maybe one off day. Tell us a little bit more about what it is that you love about your job. What are the most rewarding parts of it? Because I think that that is another good eye opener into the perspective and the source of financial advice that we are trusting.
That's a good question. I really hadn't thought about it before the show started. here's one that goes through my mind. It's one of those little points in time in my life as an advisor that not only solidified what I do, but gave me a sense of it does make a difference in somebody's life. And this goes back to the collapse in the market in 2000, 2002, when the markets just absolutely were going up and down and finally just blew up.
The dot-com bubble. And in the midst of the dot-com bubble.
Just blew up.
Yeah.
And I had a client called me. He was a bit of an older gentleman. And he said, Ron, how bad is it? Now here I thought he was talking about the markets. So I started talking about the markets. And his response said, no, not the markets. How bad is it with my accounts? And I said, tell me more. He said, well, how much money have I lost? And we had a very low volatility portfolio with him. And we had also the use at this point in time, just to say what he had a lot of fixed indexed annuities for not only for some growth, but income. And I said to him, I said, Charlie, when I look at where you are today versus where you were 6 months ago, you haven't lost a dime. You've actually got a few bucks more than you started with. He said, seriously, really, Ron? And I said, yeah. He said, oh, thank you. And he just hung up. And I remember sitting back. I still sense that now. When I remember thinking about it, it does make a difference. It really does make a difference. So that's kind of solidified what I do or think as an advisor. I'm not gung-ho. I'm more interested in helping people get through the good times and the uncertain times, the bad times, to make sure that everything stays on course as much as possible. But to be able to say, hear somebody say thank you, it's like, yeah, you did good, Ron. You did good. Because sometimes we don't hear that in this industry. We don't hear that a lot. I joke and say, when the markets go up and we've made decisions to invest in a certain way, you get the credit for that. And when they go down or sideways, I'll take the blame for that one too. But that's what kind of keeps me going. I know that what I do makes a difference. It may not be provable today when the market's up, when the market's down, but I know it makes a difference. And I know we've helped people. And I know that people have actually said thank you. Not all of them, not everybody does that, but a lot of them have said thank you. And that makes all the difference in the world. It's a lot of like being a coach. I used to play baseball. I was pretty good at it. Played a little basketball. And when I got into coaching, particularly baseball, and I would teach kids little things like how to slide. Because nobody ever taught me how to slide until I was old and I'd already tore up my knees and legs. For those of you who play baseball, you know that thing called getting a strawberry. Wow. I used to have strawberries and blueberries and blackberries. But you teach a child, maybe who's 9 years old. I remember in Little League, we used to teach them how to slide. And it was like it opened up a whole world to them, because then they wouldn't overrun the bases. They didn't, hurt themselves. They didn't go tumbling. It was little things like that. And every once in a while, a parent would come up and say, that was a really good thing you did for my son. It makes all the difference in the world. I'm like anybody else. A good word from a sincere person goes a long way to cranking my boat up and get me to move for a long time. So that's kind of a little bit about me and where I get my juice from, so to speak.
Well, again, if you are in need of an advisor, if you'd like some perspective on your plan, if you would like to double check and complete your current plan, or if you would like to build a plan, that course to retirement is the offer and opportunity and the true value of being tuned into this program. It is not 1,000 pages of complex financial jargon. It's simple, easy to understand language to absorb and to implement a snapshot of where you are currently, a report, an analysis, an evaluation of your current accounts and your holdings, a discussion of your goals, and then recommendations with the perspective of a certified financial planner on what you should be doing with your money in order to achieve and accomplish those goals in the the future. All you need to do to get that process started, to take part, to take advantage, is pick up the phone and give a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. Ron, we are moving through this list of questions to ask your financial advisor. And the first set of questions in this resource are the initial interview questions. Number 2 on that list, what services do you provide to clients? And I know there at Cornerstone Retirement Partners, you offer a lot of the typical services, but you also offer a few things outside of what may be considered the typical services of a broker or financial advisor. And if you would, could you give us a few minutes to go over both?
Sure. We tend to think of ourselves as a more full service type of financial planning firm. And I'll try to define that a little more definitively here. What does that mean? Yes, we do create investment strategies that are appropriate for people. Yes, we do ask a lot of questions before we ever do that, so that we make sure that whatever we're going to create makes sense to the potential client and makes sense to what they're trying to accomplish, and it gives them the best chance to be successful. We do that, but we do some other things too that perhaps are a bit unique. And a lot of it comes from what we call the healthcare part of what we do with clients. It's a very important part of the business when it comes to creating a future income or retirement plan, a financial plan. So yeah, we do the basics. We're pretty good at it. It's always about, philosophically, I talk about, it's about risk-adjusted return. It's not about going for the gusto. I mean, if you want to go for the gusto, take all your money, put it on 14 red at the casino, and it'll be different this time. We try to put together plans that give you the best opportunity to be successful. And that means, in a real simple way, what's the least amount of risk we need to take with your money to get what you want, to achieve your goal? So if somebody has an income plan and given their income needs out of their investment portfolio, they only need a 4% rate of return, I'm not against going after more. But let's make sure first that we create a plan with the least amount of risk to get them what they need. And if they want to step it up a little bit, we can do that. They can tell us that, and we'll help them do that up to the point where it maybe is, that's as far as they can go. I joke sometimes with folks in my office and I say, maybe I only did this as a kid, but remember we were little kids and we'd walk out on a pond that was frozen and we used to play a silly game. Who can get out there the farthest without falling in? Now, I've described that to some people and they look at me like, you really are dumb, man. What's wrong with you? But we used to play that game. And investing at times in looking at the future and planning for your retirement can be a lot like that. It's kind of like you're walking out there, you really don't know how thin the ice is. You hear it starts to crack and crackle. And you think, I can take one more step. I can take one more step. Our job in that analogy is to say, no, you didn't have to take the last 3 steps. You're good where you've gone and where you've been. You don't have to do any more. You're going to be successful. So that's what we try to do. So we include the healthcare part, the Medicare planning. If you're not 65, finding appropriate healthcare insurance for people, helping them with that, doing Social Security analysis. We also help, we're not tax people, we're not CPAs, but Nolan and I are smart enough with the software that we have to do tax analysis for folks, to be able to say, here's an investment strategy and an income strategy. This is what your tax bill is going to look like based on what it was like last year. This is what's going to happen. Because knowing the tax implications of what you do is really important. It really is. So we do that. So we combine normal investment strategy, income, retirement income planning is probably what that would be at the top of the list because it encompasses everything else. Social Security planning, there's a lot of options available for folks. What's the best option to maximize your Social Security benefit? And what is it you need Social Security for you to do now, along with the healthcare part? So when somebody becomes a client of ours, yes, there's going to be a cost, and we'll touch on that in a minute. But you really do get, from what my point of view is, you get full service advice, not just on how to invest your money, but what about healthcare? What about Social Security? What about creating an estate plan? We're not attorneys. We don't do the paperwork, but we know the questions that you should ask an attorney when it comes to your estate plan. Do you have basic documents in hand? It's one of the questions I always ask people when they first come to visit us. They're not clients, they just come in for the first appointment we call. I ask them, tell them about your retirement plan and tell me about your estate plan. And a lot of people don't have an estate plan. I mean, even simple documents like a simple will and things like that. So we help people identify kind of holes in their whole plan where they have to do something. And if we're not able to do it, we're able to say, well, here's some folks you might want to talk to. We don't get compensated or paid for that, but we've had great experiences. Our clients have good experiences with these other professionals, CPAs, attorneys, things like that. Talk to them. They'll help you create what you need to have a really solid plan for your financial future. So we do that. We just ask a lot of questions. We provide those kinds of services. It's more than just, here's your money, have a nice day, kind of a block. We go much farther than that. And importantly, we follow up. We do continuous meetings. When somebody becomes a client in our firm, we require they meet with us twice a year, face to face. Now, we can do Zoom meetings too. I understand that. But we require that. Why? Because it's an ongoing process of getting to know each other, to making sure that we're on the right track with you. This is your money, ladies and gentlemen. So I tell them that. This is your money. I have to be on the same page as you. This is not my money. This is your money. It is really important that I'm on the same page as you. That's why we maintain good contact. That's why we call people. So ladies and gentlemen, if any of this seems to be of interest to you, give us a call at our office, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581, or go to our website, Cornerstone Retirement Partners. It's Cornerstone RP, cornerstone-rp.com. Some days I just can't get it out. It's a mouthful. And then put your name and address in there and information will get to you. The first call when you meet with us, we're not going to talk about doing anything. We have to figure out, number one, what it is you're trying to accomplish. And number two, do you think we're a good match for each other? So give us a call, 616-301-2581. Thanks.
Well, already getting a great sense of not only what questions you should be asking a potential advisor, but the answers to those important questions from Ron Corser, Grand Rapids certified financial planner, and the team approach there at Cornerstone Retirement Partners. Once again, if you have questions or if you would like to get your specific course to retirement plan put together, pick up the phone, give Cornerstone Retirement Partners a call, 616-301-2581. That is 616-301-2581. Quick break. We'll be back with more questions, more answers from CFP Ron Corser and Cornerstone Retirement Partners in just a moment.
Cornerstone Retirement Partners presents Your Course to Retirement with Grand Rapids Certified Financial Planner Ron Corser and Nolan Gosley. Cornerstone Retirement Partners are planning today for the potential of tomorrow. Visit cornerstone-rp.com for many valuable resources, including those mentioned on this show and other great episodes of Your Course to Retirement.
And we're back here with Ron Corser, Grand Rapids certified financial planner on Your Course to Retirement. Cornerstone Retirement Partners, ladies and gentlemen, your resource for that common sense approach to planning, helping to clarify and uncomplicate the financial world. And today we're talking about getting to know an advisor. What questions should you be asking? What answers should you be looking for when interviewing a potential advisor, or even when talking with your current advisor on those regular conversations? Ron Corser bringing up the questions that he would suggest that you ask and some of the answers from the perspective of he and his team there at Cornerstone Retirement Partners. If you've got questions, if you would like to get a plan put together, if you'd like to talk with an advisor, pick up the phone and give a call, 616-301-2581. That's 616-301-2581. Now, Ron, we talked a little bit about the communication. I don't think that when we hire an advisor, we expect to hear from them every day. but there certainly should be a good amount of proactive communications. Or I guess I'll ask you, what should the level of conversation appropriately be, do you feel?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm just going to talk about what we do and hope that that'll answer the question. Let's say somebody becomes a client after we go through our own process. And our process of becoming a client is not a 20-minute conversation. It's a whole lot more involved than that, because we have to know that we're both on the same page. And we have to know that ultimately any plan that we've created, it fits the person. But once they become a client, once we go through all of that, then we automatically set up in the first year 2 face-to-face appointments, 6 months apart. And I tell people that's one of the rules that you have joining our firm. That's a rule. If somebody doesn't want to meet that often or doesn't feel the need for it, I get a little nervous about that. And it's not the responsibility I want. I want to maintain contact. So 2 meetings first year, absolutely. But then I also reserve the right to tell them to have your cell phone so that I can call you anytime I feel like calling you if the world's coming to an end. So minimally, anybody should hear from their advisor, obviously, when the world is coming apart at the seams. That's pretty sensible.
I feel like that would be an important time. Yeah.
I would think so. I absolutely would. But the other parts I think are important too. What about when times are going good? What about when we just need to talk about, do we need to make adjustments? Here's an important question. I'll use an example. I say, Peter, I haven't seen you in a couple months, and it's been a while since we talked. What's going on in your life? Everything still on course? Are we still going well? Is everything okay with you? Why do I want to ask that question? Because sometimes things can change in a person's life. I use the example. You could go and have a physical today and be just in perfect health. And then 3 months from now, something happens and I call you and I say, what's going on? Anything going on? And say, well, I just got some serious news from the doctor. That's the kind of thing that can change a plan. I'm not interested in perhaps you sharing all the details with me if you're not comfortable with that. But those kinds of things are the kinds of situations that can change a plan. And we need to know that so that we can make adjustments if you want us to make adjustments, so that we can tailor whatever's going on in your life to the kind of financial plan that we've crafted and put together for you. So we do stay in communication. We do ask for the cell phone. We do also say, I've reserved the right to call you on Saturday. And we've done that. The last time we really went through that a lot was COVID in 2020. Nolan and I basically were on the phone, it seemed like forever, starting in February and going through really April of calling people. And we called people on Saturday because maybe we didn't get to you on Friday and something happened on Friday. But we tell people we will get to you. You will always hear from us. And I think that's important. I really do. It's not as if we just say, don't worry, be happy, the market will always come back. That may be true if you live in long enough and you don't need to make adjustments. But we maintain that and we ask for that kind of openness to call you and maintain contact with you. So we do a lot of that. We do a lot of things through emails too. We send out investment ideas and summaries, market summaries and things like that on a regular basis. And before COVID hit, we used to do outside arrangements where we might have a dinner or something frequently and have an outside speaker come in or somebody who is an expert in some topic of interest to talk. That does a couple things that enable our clients just to get together because they're good folks. They really are. And they enjoy being around one another. And also just the social part, but also to maybe learn a little something about the markets or new things going on in healthcare, those kinds of issues, just to keep everybody kind of on top of everything. So if any of this seems like it might be appropriate, you might like to know more about it, give us a call. Call our office, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. Be more than happy to set up a conversation, either by phone, Zoom meeting, in person, whatever fits your schedule, because we'd like to be able to help you if that's what you're looking for. Again, it's 616-301-2581, or go to our website, Cornerstone Retirement Partners. That's Cornerstone cornerstone-rp.com.
Eventually in that conversation, Ron, the rubber meets the road. We get down to brass tacks, and that is, how do you get paid, right? We've got to address that elephant in the room. We know that everyone's in business and providing a service for a fee or compensation. We want to be able to justify it. We also want to know how much it is in order to be able to reasonably even consider justifying it. So, is that a conversation that comes up often and early in the conversation? And then B, if you don't mind, could you address that for yourself and your firm?
Yeah, we do get compensated for what we do. I think we're worth it too. But how do we get paid? If ultimately somebody decides to join our firm, this is what I really tell them. Either in the first meeting, if they ask, or if they don't ask, I'll tell them, or before they sign on the dotted line to join our firm. To say, here's how we get compensated. If we manage money for you in the stock market, there's a fee, a charge, an asset charge. And it's a very clear charge. There's nothing hidden or spooky about it. And it can go on a percentage basis of assets. And what I tell folks is they will see that charge every month on their account statement. It's very clear. There's no hidden spooky charges. There's no additional administration charges. There's no ticket charges for buying or selling. There's no IRA charges. There's no admin charges. None of that stuff which can add up. It's very clear. And then also if we use insurance products with somebody in their portfolio, and that can be anything from annuity to life insurance. My wife does Medicare. That's a commission-based product. And it doesn't come out directly from their account, but ultimately they end up paying for it indirectly. But we tell them exactly how much we earn if those kinds of accounts are used in their portfolio. And what I clearly tell everybody before they ever sign up with us, they will know once we've agreed on a plan and we've massaged it and gotten to the point where they want it, they will know exactly how much we're going to be compensated, either by managing their assets in the market or if we've included any insurance products in their overall plan. And I say, I will spell it out clearly to the penny. I'm not embarrassed about that because I believe that we really do earn our keep, so to speak, and that the client profits from what we bring in total service. So that's how we deal with the idea of how much is this going to cost. And it's up to everybody to figure out if that makes sense to them. And I'm good with people saying, you know what, I just don't want to pay for it. I'm fine with that. Everybody can make their own decision. Our job is to help people who want and need a certain amount and certain kind of help. And we're compensated for that. So if you'd like to learn more about all this, give us a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. Or go to our website, Cornerstone Retirement Partners. That's cornerstone-rp.com. Put your information in there. I'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you.
So, Ron, it sounds like there may be some choice and options of the nature of that relationship, or some of that determined and dictated by the course of the plan there. But regardless, going to be discussed openly and honestly so that everybody's got clarity on those costs and what to expect from them ahead of time.
Yeah, there is clarity. And the other thing I'll say is, there's this terminology sometimes in certain advertisements, just TV for financial advisor, it says our clients do better when we do better. That's how our costs are structured. I can say the absolute same thing with honesty. We do better when our clients do better, and it's very clear cut. So it's not something we shy away from. It's something, and I tell people, if you get to know me, hopefully you'll like me, but you'll come to understand that I am incapable of really fixing much of anything. So when we needed a little help on our back porch a couple of years ago, when somebody came by and gave me an estimate and said, we can fix this, fix that, I always said, how much is this going to cost? And I tell people, it's okay to ask me or somebody like me or your advisor. You should ask them, how much is this going to cost? Because you need to know that. So if somebody says, like I had one guy come by and he says, well, I got to put it together, I'll let you know. I said, no. I need an estimate right now. Just give me a range. So I'm good with that. So I tell people, you can ask me, you should ask me. Your other advisors you're working with, you should be very clear asking them about how much you're paying for their services. It's a basic, when you go to buy a car, you ask how much it's going to cost, don't you? When you go to buy a house, you ask how much it's going to cost. So you have every right, and you should ask any advisor, how are you going to charge me? How am I going to pay you? What's the cost involved in what you're going to do? And what am I going to get for what I'm paying? Great question to ask.
Well, again, it's an important one. If you'd like to get a plan put together, if you'd like to ask questions from a certified financial planner and the team of advisors there at Cornerstone Retirement Partners, if you'd like to get your plan completed, a complimentary service, no cost, no obligation for that review and strategy session, and to get your course to retirement plan designed, pick up the phone and give a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. And Ron, fair to say that you could easily charge for the course to retirement plan that you put together, or the Social Security report and analysis, or the investment report and analysis, the tax component of that, the healthcare, the total overall plan assessment that you do could come with a cost. And we've seen them and discussed them going upwards of $1,000 to several thousands of dollars. But that is the value of being tuned into this program. And if you charged just for putting the plan together, ultimately you would probably end up getting fewer clients.
Yeah, I tell you, I had an experience a long time ago when I was a younger man and more naive than I am today. I got involved with the legal profession, and I didn't realize that every time you called the lawyer, it was a 15-minute charge. So I got hit. But what at that time was a lot of money because I didn't have enough to pay it. And what that taught me was I would not call him again until I had a full 15 minutes of questions. So what I learned and why I do what I do, we don't charge when people call. We don't charge for that kind of advice. I don't want people to think, hey, man, I got to call Corsair and ask him a question. He's going to send me a bill. I don't want that. I want people, and I encourage clients to call us. Ask us questions. Tell me you heard something strange on the news. Ask for what it means. I want people to call and ask, and I don't want them to be shy about it. So we don't charge for time. I think we're adequately compensated for the way we put together plans and how we cobble them together for the best interest of the client. So I've got no problem with that, and I want people to call. So I hope that answers the question.
Well, again, if you would like to have that conversation with Ron Corser or the team there at Cornerstone Retirement Partners, pick up the phone, give a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. Now, Ron, there are plenty of other questions on this list. In fact, there are questions as you are interviewing to potentially hire an advisor. There are questions for your current advisor. And then there are questions to ask that advisor on a regular, ongoing basis. If you could skimming through here real quick, what do you feel are maybe the most important ones that we ask, or where would you suggest somebody go in asking those questions next?
Well, here's an interesting question. I don't get it asked very often, but I think it's an important one. And it relates to, have you lost any clients lately? Nobody in our industry wants to talk about that, at least openly. But things do change. Relationships kind of ebb and flow. Things happen, people leave firms. So one of the questions in the Ramsey report was, can you tell me that by the last two clients you lost stopped working with you? And I can. One was, they were really a nice couple and they went through a really ugly divorce. She ultimately moved to another state in Florida and ultimately changed her life a little bit and just decided that she just needed to make a complete break with the past. And so she left. And I understood it. I mean, I still think she's a nice person, but I get that. It was just her need to have it closer to home, to make a change with the past. A second one I talked to, and this is interesting, they left because the rate of return that we had gotten from COVID on through, a couple months ago wasn't high enough for them. They were in positive territory. We kind of recovered from COVID, and they had made money, but when they looked at everything over the last couple of years, Yeah, they had made money, but it wasn't enough. So they left searching for somebody else who could help them more. And I got that. I wish them well, because ultimately what we try to do, and I said this, I think, earlier in the program, it's not about absolute return for us, because with absolute upside return, you have to be willing to accept absolute downside loss. It's about risk adjusted returns. What's the least amount of risk we can take to give you the best chance to meet your goal, to have success? If you want to take a little more risk once we find that number, then we can. But that's how we approach the whole world. What's the least amount of risk? That doesn't make us conservative. We're going to bury your money in a 3-pound coffee can and put it in the backyard. It just, risk is an interesting creature. It's been my experience, and even in my own life, when things are going good, we can take a lot of risk. We don't really find out how much risk we really can take until things roll over on us and the markets go bad. And generally, that's when people find out that they are probably more risk averse than they thought. Nobody likes to lose money. And when markets are going up, we need more, but when markets are going down, I don't want to lose any. So that risk averse approach is what we use.
It's interesting. You're just reminding me of last week's program where you made the statement, it's not until we have those downturns, it's not until the market pulls back that we know if the plan worked or not. So those are the times when we're really stress testing the plan and seeing if we're going to get the results that we anticipated.
Yeah, there's an expression in our business that nobody knows who's swimming naked till the tide goes out. So I guess that makes great sense.
I think that's attributed to Warren Buffett.
Yeah, it is ultimately about, when the hurricane hits or the tornado or something like that, that's when you find out, if your house is built on sand or a strong foundation. And hopefully we do the strong foundation part a whole lot more than the other part. That's what we try to do with folks. It's not so much about, do we have a great rate of return, but what about the what ifs? Let's talk about how much risk we really have in our portfolio. And we can measure that, and we do. And we share that with clients to give them an idea of how much risk they're really taking on in their portfolio. So they know that. It's like driving down the road. Today, the road is kind of nice, sunny out, it's dry, speed limit 70 on expressway. You can drive 95. You can't. What's going to happen? You'll get wherever you're going sooner. Speed limit is still 70, you're driving 95. You could meet an employee of the state of Michigan and he'll bust you for reckless driving. Or maybe the worst part is you just have a wreck and crash and not kill yourself, just mess yourself up. You can always go faster. But what about last February in Michigan when we got 17 inches of snow in about 11 days? There's 6 inches on the expressway, 4 more coming, and the wind's blowing. Speed limit is still 70 for that road. But maybe you're behind an 18-wheeler going 20 miles an hour, hoping, praying that he can see where you're going because you're going wherever he goes. Speed limit's still 70. You have choices to make on how much risk you want to bring in to driving in the winter or the summer. You have risk to determine how much you want to bring into your portfolio. That's what we help people determine. How much risk is appropriate, but how much risk is necessary to give you the best opportunity to meet your goals, your objectives, your plan, to get the income you need in retirement. So if this is of interest, ladies and gentlemen, please give us a call. I'd love to talk with you. 616-301-2581. 616-301-2581. Or go to our website, Cornerstone Retirement Partners. That's cornerstone-rp.com. Put your name in there and we'll get in contact with you and set up a time to chat either by phone, Zoom, or in person.
616-301-2581, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581, or online, cornerstone-rp.com, cornerstone-rp.com. Ron, I think another question that is important, and we need to ask ourselves this question pretty frequently, fairly periodically, is my current portfolio, is my current plan helping me work toward my goals, and specifically goals into the future. A lot of people have transitions in life, have changes in life. Our conditions change, the world changes around us, and we go through different phases. And the plan that may have been appropriate 5, 10, 15 years ago may no longer be able to answer this question affirmatively and confidently.
Well, I'll tell you, that's a great lead into another program, almost. How do you define whether you're on the right track or you're doing what you need to do? It always starts with a real simple question, and I ask this question a lot. Tell me what you want your money to do. It seems like, what a simple question. Kind of dumb, but it really isn't. Tell me what you want your money to do. Well, I want my money to grow. Well, how much? A lot. Well, how much is a lot? I don't know, but it's more than I'm getting now. How much are you getting now? I don't know. So a lot of it depends on where are you right now? And that's one of the most important things we help people find out is, where are you right now? Sometimes folks don't have a real good understanding of where they are. They may have been making money. They should have made some money in this market, but they don't know where they stand now versus where the world is, but more importantly, where they're trying to go with their retirement plan or their investment plan. Where are you right now? You can answer that question. We can help answer that question statistically, tell you how much risk you have, what kind of returns you have gotten over the last 1, 3, 5, or 10 years. Can you expect that? Is what you're invested in now sensible for you, given what you like or don't like, but where the world is? So what is it you want your money to do is the first question. Second question is, where are you right now? Do you really understand how you're allocated, how everything is lined up right now? Because we can help answer that question. And sometimes people say, oh, I didn't realize that. I got more of this and less of that. It's not exactly what I wanted. No wonder something happened. So those two questions, what is it you want your money to do specifically? And where are you right now? We can help answer those two. And when we do, the really wonderful part about all this is we can bring clarity about saying, where do you want to go in the future? What is it you need to do? What do you need to accomplish? What kind of legacy issues do you want to create? What kind of income do you need in retirement? Do you have the right Social Security strategy? Do you have the right Medicare plan for yourself? Do you have an estate plan, even in the simplest form put together? See, once we answer those two questions, we can help you with a whole bunch of other things that are so very, very important. So give us a call if this makes sense, or if you're curious, give us a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. Go to our website, Cornerstone Retirement Partners. That's cornerstone-rp.com. Put your information in there. We'll be in touch with you. 616-301-2581.
Now, Ron, if somebody has been tuned into this program and they are in their mind acknowledging the value of a financial advisor or in search of that relationship, somebody to provide proactive guidance or advice, you make a valuable offer each and every episode for your friends and neighbors, workers, savers, financial-minded, proactive planners throughout the Grand Rapids area and all surrounding areas to be that resource, or at least to introduce yourself and to get to know a little bit about them. If you would, could you talk about what that offer entails and what that process would look like if they would like to take advantage?
The process is not involved, but it takes time. We're not a one meeting kind of store. And when we meet the first time with people, it's all about what we call discovery, getting to know one another, trying to figure out if we're a good match for you, and we're trying to figure out if we're a good match together. Because ultimately, if we start working together, it's going to be a bit of a long-term kind of a relationship. So hopefully we have a lot in common and we kind of just like being around one another. I don't want this to be the kind of thing where it's like calling your dentist to get a root canal every time you call us. So there has to be that commonality, that getting along a little bit together. Then a second part is devising a program, some kind of plan to help whatever it is you've decided you want your money to do, to help that to do it. We also, through the planning process, will be very clear. If somebody has some goals objectives that we don't think are rational. In a very kind way, I will say that. If somebody has, we'll go back to you. You have $10 million, Peter, and you need $1 million a year to live on. You don't have enough money in retirement to retire. I will tell people that. I will say to them, I think it'd be in your best interest. You need to work a couple more years before taking Social Security, those kinds of things. Finally, when we get through that, the third part of it is we actually put the whole thing together. That includes investments, Social Security, Medicare, estate plan, the whole 9 yards. So if this is of interest to you, ladies and gentlemen, please give us a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581, or go to our website, Cornerstone Retirement Partners. That's cornerstone-rp.com. We will be more than happy to give you all the help you need to really become successful in this thing called future financial planning.
They are here as your resource, ladies and gentlemen. Give Cornerstone Retirement Partners a call, 616-301-2581. CFP Ron Corser and his team there available for you. You can also go online, cornerstone-rp.com, cornerstone-rp.com. Ron, always a pleasure, and we appreciate your guidance, perspective here each and every week on your course to retirement.
This has been fun. I hope everybody out there listening still all the way through the program have a blessed Sunday, and keep the faith. What's going on in our world, I think ultimately we get through it. Just keep the faith. Thank you for listening today.
Tune into Cornerstone Retirement Partners' full radio program, Your Course to Retirement, Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock at News Radio WOOD, or visit cornerstone-rp.com for many valuable resources, including those mentioned on this show and other great episodes of Your Course to Retirement.
The content of this radio show is provided for informational purposes only and is not a solicitation or recommendation of any investment strategy. You are encouraged to seek investment, tax, or legal advice from an independent professional advisor.
Ed Slott's Elite IRA Advisor Group is solely an indication that the financial advisor has attended training provided by Ed Slott and Company, passed biannual examinations on material covered at conferences and in webinars, and met other membership requirements, and does not constitute an endorsement of any kind. Ed Slott's Elite IRA Advisor Group members pay a fee for the educational programs that allow them to be included in the Ed Slott's Elite IRA Advisor Group. Membership does not guarantee investment success. Fiduciary duty extends solely to investment advisory advice and does not extend to other activities such as insurance or broker-dealer services.
Advisory services offered through Brookstone Capital Management, a registered investment advisor.
Advisory clients are charged a quarterly fee for assets under management, while insurance products pay a commission, which may result in a conflict of interest regarding compensation.
Any investments and/or investment strategies mentioned involve risk, including the possible loss of principal. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to securities or investment advisory products. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals or growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs. Early withdrawals may subject the owner to penalties, fees, or taxes.